Hi everybody, it's Gia. Welcome to my channel, or if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to talk to you about slow living, mindful living, just slowing down and learning to appreciate all the small things in life that are often overlooked. Because in today's society, it's always go, 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 so busy all the time, and we hardly ever get a chance to just slow down, stop and smell the roses, and just be able to appreciate what's in front of us. So in this video, I've compiled a list of 12 practical tips to slow down and just take in life as it comes and not try to keep racing through to the finish line or distract ourselves or be constantly busy, but to just slow down and embrace what's right in front of us. So my first tip number 1, to lead a slow, simple life is having a minimalistic, calm home. As we all know, the home is our recharge point. It's where we come back to, it's our sanctuary, and it's a place that we need to be able to relax and unwind and just shed off all the stresses of our everyday. But oftentimes what happens is we come home and our house is messy, there's stuff everywhere, it feels chaotic and not at all peaceful like we're hoping. So what ends up happening is we get home, we feel more stressed, we see all this clutter, all this mess that we have to tidy up, all this cleaning we have to do, and home is somewhere we'd rather not be. So we're staying longer at work, we're doing anything to get out of the house and not be here. Our clutter and our possessions can end up owning us, can't they? The more we have and the more that accumulates, the more stressed we often become, because we suddenly have all these things that we now have to take care of, all these possessions and places to put them and uses we have to give them. So they're all assigned these different roles that they don't need to be assigned because we don't need them. We don't need all these things for all these roles we're making up. But to justify a purchase, oftentimes we need to think of something. But that just creates decision fatigue, doesn't it? And it just burns us out. And oftentimes that thing that we've purchased ends up becoming more of a nuisance than something that's useful to us. So to clear your space, it's important to go through what you own, declutter what you don't actually need. And you will find there is such a small minority of things that you actually use on a day-to-day basis and that actually makes you happy. The rest of it is just clutter, it's stuff, it's things we don't actually need and things we don't even use. So to create that calm peace of mind, less stress, and somewhere to come back to after a hard day that we actually enjoy, go through your possessions, minimize the things in your home and clear up that clutter. Have a big decluttering session, no matter how long it takes, and just get rid of things you no longer need and are no longer serving you. You will find with less possessions, it is so much easier to make decisions as well because you don't need all of these countless options that are just overwhelming. You just need a few things and to minimize all this decision fatigue, and you will find that your home becomes a much more enjoyable place to be and so much calmer as a result. My second tip for slow, mindful living is to prepare the night before. Oftentimes in the morning we feel rushed, don't we? Our alarm goes off and we suddenly have this go, 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 go mindset. And it ups your cortisol levels, so you start the day stressed. The night before, prepare everything you possibly can. This includes things like what you're going to wear in the morning, what you're going to eat to save money as well. If you're going to work, pack a lunch. If you have children, make sure their lunch boxes are all packed. Have everything you need to take with you already packed and ready to go so you can just pick it up and go out the door straight away. Just make sure the night before it's already ready to go. My third tip is to create friction with your phone. Just create some sort of barrier between you and the phone that makes it slightly inconvenient to use. And even if you can, leave it behind on occasions. I know this isn't completely practical for a lot of people, but if you're just going for a little walk or something, you're going to the grocery store, whatever it is, if you don't need your phone on you, don't bring it. Just test it out. Leave it at home for a bit. You may feel like you've lost a limb, and if that's the case, you're probably more attached to your phone than you realize. I've done this on several occasions where I'll just go somewhere without my phone and I will just have this slight panic moment where I'll quickly just pat my pockets and go, oh, I forgot my phone, and then I'll remember and then I'll be like, oh, okay, it's at home. But it's so strange that we are so attached to our phones these days that we can't imagine leaving it behind for a couple of minutes. We've always got to have our phones on us, don't we, in case there's a sudden emergency and we need to be quickly contacted. But how often does this actually happen? In reality, the chances are so slim. You can go without your phone for a little bit and just leave it behind. Everything will be fine. So we often like to catastrophize, don't we? But if you just think back a couple of decades ago, no one had a mobile phone on them, did they? They didn't have this constant access to other people, and other people didn't have this constant access to us. So go back to that time period. And in that point too is to create the friction with your phone when you do have it on you. This can be adding a minimalist launcher, which is something I've done. It's to create something that makes the phone less appealing to use. You can use grayscale as well, just turn your phone into black and white, and it makes it so unappealing. You will just you look at it for a few seconds and then you'll go, I actually don't want to use this. And you'll only really use it then for something that you really need to. Because we are often spending so much time on our phones. It's creating this massive disconnect between us and the real world. This little device just constantly distracting us and trying to draw our attention away from what's actually happening in real life. So to create friction with your phone and taking yourself offline for a bit, it's just so cathartic and helpful. I think it's important to disconnect and to not be completely available at all times and accessible. I think it's important to create those boundaries and to let people know, no, they can't have your time all of the time. Here's a set time you can contact me and I will be available, but the rest of the time I'm focusing on myself and my family and my friends. The rest of the time, people don't need to be in constant access to you. They really don't. They'll be fine and you'll be fine. Number 4, go into nature without distraction and just watch the world go by. This includes don't bring your phone with you. If you really need to bring some piece of technology, bring a camera. Like go into nature and take some photography. Something that is then bringing you into the here and now and interacting with nature, rather than constantly worrying if your phone's going to go off or if there's a notification or you need to make a phone call or someone's trying to contact you. For someone like me who loves music, go without headphones. Go without your phone. Just see how different it actually is. And also go for walks in different conditions as well. I know everyone prefers to go on a nice warm sunny day, but go in winter. Go when it's cold. Have a little walk in the snow if it snows where you live. Just feel the way nature feels against your skin and how immersive it actually is. Because we're constantly trying to block it out. If it's raining, we go, oh, that sucks. But rather than actually getting involved in it and actually feeling the way it feels on us, it's a very grounding experience, and I think people have lost touch with that. So go into nature, go without distractions, go without your phone, go without headphones. Just really take it in and watch the world go by. Number 5 is to focus on quality time. So oftentimes when we're with our friends, with our family, it's so easy for us to get, once again, stuck into technology, isn't it? How often are you with your partner or loved ones and you're all just sitting on the couch and you all got your phones up to your face like this, having a bit of a scroll? We all do it, and when you actually realize it, it is really sad. It's all these people supposed to be having this bonding quality time, and we're all in our own little worlds, our own little bubbles, not interacting. We might even be interacting with each other on a screen. We might be sending each other reels and memes and stuff through our screen, but we're sitting right next to each other. It's such a strange dystopian disconnect when you really think about it. And I think for people, we need quality time with our loved ones. It's how we connect, it's how we bond, it's how we feel safe and loved. You know, it can be nice to watch a movie together and, you know, if we're all engaged and we're all talking about it at the same time, that can be a quality time thing. But oftentimes we'll just put something on in the background, look at our phones and just ignore each other. And that is so common. And it makes the other people feel unloved, even if you're not realizing it at the time in a subconscious way. If you're there staring at your phone and your children are trying to get your attention, but you are way more interested in what's on your screen, that is telling your children, sorry, this is way more important than you are right now. And they take that on. They really do. You may not mean to do it, but children are like sponges. They will absorb what's going on. They can read the room. They can feel the atmosphere. And they can sense whatever's on that screen is way more important than they are. I know that's a harsh truth, but quality time is so important. When you're having family dinner, don't let phones be present. Do not let technology near that dinner table. Don't sit on the couch. Don't all go off into your rooms. Don't just isolate yourselves. Really connect. Number 6, to slow down and live mindfully, is to have a sleep hygiene ritual. A lot of people don't really have this. They'll kind of just do whatever before bed and then just pass out at some unknown time. Bedtimes are often seen as something that's for little kids, and as we get older, we often let the concept of a bedtime sort of fade away, don't we? We'll just go to bed when we feel like it, binge a few episodes of a show we're watching, then suddenly realise the time and go, oh crap, I got work in a couple of hours, and then go to sleep. It's important to prioritise sleep, and I know you all know it, and I know you don't want to hear it, but don't have your phone ready to go right before bed. Turn it off an hour or so before bed and just leave it. If TV is something that helps you relax before bed, make sure you know what it is you're actually going to watch, intentionally watch it. Realise, okay, this goes for this long, I'd like to be asleep and in bed by this time, and then turn it off. So find a sleep ritual that works for you and is a healthy way to make sure you get enough sleep, because it is so important to be able to live a healthy life that you are getting enough sleep and you are getting quality sleep as well. Number 7 is to lean into boredom. People do not like this. They really don't like it in this day and age where we have constant access to so much stimuli that we don't know what to do with it. And we really don't know what to do with it. We're all suffering as a result. We're not doing as well with technology as we probably thought we would have. We're not designed for all this constant stimulation. We need peace, we need quiet, we need recharge. So all this stimulation is just not good for us. It's not good for our brains or our nervous systems. So to be able to lean into boredom, to be able to just sit quietly without any kind of distraction, even if it's for just 5 minutes a day, is so beneficial. It trains our brain to activate again. It teaches us to use our creativity to think of things rather than just looking for it on Google. Because it's important for us to be able to have our own discernment and judgment on things. And oftentimes our discernment and judgment can get clouded by other people's opinions, particularly online, where everything's very black and white, very yes and no, wrong, right, very extreme approaches. Whereas life is a medley of grey shades, but we often forget that. To be able to use our brains and our creativity to access this information that is within all of us, and to be able to get back in touch with ourselves, it gives us a stronger sense of identity. It teaches us to not doubt our judgment, to listen to our intuition and our gut feelings on things. The main thing that we need to know and access is within ourselves. We need to trust our judgment on things. And oftentimes that intuition and that judgment can get clouded by all this noise, all these outside opinions. So lean into boredom. Let your brain run wild. Let it come up with theories and different brain connections and patterns and see what your brain actually is capable of, because you will be really surprised. Lean into boredom and just see what comes out of it. My 8th tip for slow living is, you all know I like it, journaling. I find, particularly for someone who loves writing, journaling for me is a lifesaver, because I've got so many thoughts constantly going on in my head that I need to put them somewhere. I can't really function with all this noise in my head. I'm someone who requires a lot of peace and quiet to be able to function and focus. So for me, journaling's a lifesaver to slow living, because it helps me get out what it is I'm actually feeling and see it written out. Once it's out of my head and on paper, I feel so much better. To be able to have those memories and that knowledge and that insight into my own life that oftentimes we forget as time goes on. To be able to have that safe space for myself, to be able to express how I feel, is so important. If you haven't started journaling, I would highly recommend it, because it is such a wonderful, eye-opening thing into your own life. Number 9 is to have less noise going on in your life. I know that I've kind of already touched on this, but having constant background noise or constant stimulation, it's overwhelming. Our bodies are not meant to handle it. Our minds are not meant to handle it. Having a TV on in the background, having a radio on in the background, having music constantly playing, it's not necessarily helpful to have all this noise going on all the time. Our brains need that recharge. They need that quietness to be able to come up with ideas and creative thoughts and solutions to things. When we're constantly bombarding ourselves with distractions and noise, we don't have that time, that silence, to be able to formulate what it is we need to formulate. You need that silence for your brain. You don't need that constant noise and that hustle and bustle. Let it create in that silence and you will be amazed what you can come up with. Number 10 is take up a slow hobby. Something that you find a little bit challenging, not impossible, but something that you actually do have to work towards. Something that's not going to be an immediate fix, something you need to take up time and time again to see through till the end. I think in this day and age where everything is shortened, you've got YouTube Shorts, you've got TikToks, everything is kind of compacted into these really bite-sized dopamine bursts. So what this means is a lot of people are no longer watching long-form content. It shows that the attention spans of people are lessening and they're getting bored quicker, they can't retain the information as long, they don't want to sit through a longer video. They want the information now. They want all the answers in a very compacted time frame because we are so busy. We've just absolutely burnt ourselves out with all these things we have to do. Patience is something that is severely lacking these days. It's something people don't really value anymore. The delayed gratification effect, it's not really a thing. We kind of expect things when we want them. You've got overnight delivery, you've got all these things. Click a button and it'll show up at your front door in a matter of hours. Like, we have all this instant gratification for everything. Our brains then learn, okay, everything in life should be like this. But that's not how life works, is it? Life is slow. Life is meant to be slow. But we're trying to just fast forward everything. So to have a hobby, take something up that requires you to be patient and work on it. Whether that's something like knitting, if that's something like embroidery, if it's woodwork, if it's making YouTube videos, something that you have to actively work on and it takes time to see results. I think that's important as people. We need that growth and we need that delayed gratification. We can't have everything now, and we need to be able to appreciate the time it takes to get an end result to something. So yeah, start a slow hobby, see what you can come up with, and something that you can see the results after a bit of time rather than straight away. Number 11 is to listen to music without distractions and to listen to full albums. Remember when we used to go down to music stores and buy CDs, and we'd listen to those CDs from front to back? We'd listen to the whole thing, song by song. Very rarely would you buy a CD and like every single track on the album. I think it's great we listen to full albums and we could then go, I really like these handful of songs versus these other songs on the album that are not really my thing. But nowadays we've got things like Spotify. You can pick all these songs out of millions and millions of songs, and it's too much. It's so much. And there's been plenty of research done on the fact that Spotify users oftentimes will just listen to their favourite songs over and over again. They don't actually generally try and branch out of what they're actually interested in. So this is what we normally do as people. We'll kind of have our select favourites of things and we'll keep gravitating towards those things time and time again. We don't do well with all these options, and Spotify is just options all the time. So when you buy an album, listen to every single song in the order that the artist put them in. Listen to the whole thing without any distractions and just actually listen to the music, because we often just use music as background noise these days, don't we? So for a little slow living experiment, yeah, just try listening to a full album again. You might be surprised. And number 12 is JOMO. What's JOMO? Well, you've heard of FOMO, the fear of missing out. Embrace the joy of missing out. Because how often are we told that we need to be a part of everything, and we constantly feel unless we're a part or in the middle of everything, we're missing out on something. Everyone else is experiencing this hype in this thing and we're left out. That's the worst possible thing, isn't it? No. There's a beautiful freedom in the joy of missing out on things, particularly things that are not actually that important to you, but are just something other people enjoy. Oftentimes people just go along with things because other people are doing them. And I think that's a terrible reason to do something. Unless it's something you actually enjoy and are interested in, you don't need to be a part of every single little thing. It's important to pick and choose what it is you want to be a part of. Because if you're saying yes to everything, think of all these things you're saying no to as a result. Because that's how that works. You say yes to one thing, you're saying no to a myriad of other things. Be selective with your time. Be selective with your energy. Realize you don't need to be a part of every single thing everyone else is a part of. You need to be able to pick and choose and prioritize what's actually important in your own life. To slow down and really think it through. Think about who you are as a person and what it is that brings you to life and makes you feel passionate. And then chase that. Go after that, and you will find true joy and freedom in chasing the things that really bring you happiness. But yes, those are my 12 tips to living a slow, mindful life. I implement these in my day-to-day life, and I find it really helps me in so many ways. Just being able to disconnect from all the noise, all the background noise, all the chatter, and being able to actually connect with the people and the things that I love. That is so important, and I find that so fulfilling. So yes, let me know in the comments, how many of these do you already do, or how many of these would you love to try? I'm very interested in knowing. So yeah, thank you so much for watching everyone, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.